Cool.
Good morning, everybody. I am Trevor with Life-Based Solutions, back in for a fun Fitness Friday. Thank you for being with us last week. I was out with strep throat, but feeling like $1,000,000 back on track this week. And we got some fun stuff in store for you today. A couple things. If you have a pen and paper, grab it. Or if you're watching the replay of this video, just pause it real quick and go grab a pen and paper or something to take some notes on, because I think you're going to want to jot down a couple things here. We have some cool stuff we'll be talking about. But before we get to that, if you have any questions or if you ever want to get a hold of me or dive deeper into anything fitness or nutrition related, feel free to reach out to me at trevor@lifebasedsolutions.com, or you can find our team just by going to our website at lifebasedsolutions.com. So with that, real quick, for those of you who aren't familiar with me, I have owned a gym for the better part of the last 13 years, been in the health and fitness industry for 20 years. I turned 40 this year, to give you an idea of how that would work. And more recently, we have become part owners of our software company, Life-Based Solutions, which we've used to manage our nutrition program inside of my business. So for the last 5 years, I've been using Life-Based Solutions to grow, scale, and manage our nutrition business here. And now I'm in charge of business development for that company. So we kind of bring everything together, both fitness and nutrition related, on these Fitness Fridays. So today is going to be kind of a cool topic that marries these two things. And sometimes we'll give you workouts to do. Other things we'll talk about, like today, where it's more like how nutrition and fitness are related. But I'll still sneak in a little workout for you at the end of this. So let's dive into our topic. So grab that piece of paper and pen, write this down. We're right in the middle of doing a challenge for some of our gym members and the general public here in Kearney. And we've got about 30 people doing this challenge. And to clarify, this isn't a lose a bunch of weight quick, drop a bunch of pounds, go back to old habits type deal. This is an 8-week nutrition and wellness challenge where people work out. We really dial in their nutrition. They've got to track food the exact way that our coaches recommend for them. We put them on an in-body scanner. We monitor skeletal muscle mass, body fat, and water levels, both inside of the cells and outside, to really make sure that we're doing things right for people. No crash diets. The end goal being that at the end of the 8 weeks, you have lost as much body fat as you can without losing any skeletal muscle mass. As a matter of fact, most of our people actually gain skeletal muscle mass. So with these 30 people, to give an idea, in their first 2 weeks, we just had our first check-in 2 weeks ago, they've lost 129 pounds of fat while gaining over 10 pounds of muscle as a collective group. So it's really, really cool. But one of the questions that we had this week came from one of our participants, Patrick, and he was just asking, he said, Trevor, how come you have to feed people more and more food to keep them losing body fat? It doesn't make sense. It seems like you would just cut calories and then they should be able to lose more and more weight. And this is a really good question. It's hard to wrap your head around. So this is what I want to talk about today is what happens when we do nutrition for people, especially diabetics. Most of the time we're easing people into foods and mostly carbohydrates. People spend years wrecking their metabolisms. They're not eating. They're not eating breakfast. They're not eating good quality foods. Nutrient timing is way off. And so what happens is their bodies kind of go into hibernation mode. They're done being fat burning machines, and they've really kind of slowed that fat burning process down inside of their body. So what we do is we ease people into food. We get them to eat good quality foods, proteins, carbs, and fats, every few hours, just the right amount of carbohydrates based on activity level and water levels inside and outside of the cells and certain things. And then we're able to tell when more carbohydrates to keep burning fat while also maintaining all skeletal muscle mass, right? And so I'm keeping things super simple for that purpose. But what happens is we're going to come times with almost everybody where they plateau a little bit, right? Where they don't lose some body fat, or we see a drop in skeletal muscle mass, and we have some decisions to make. And what do? Well, Life-Based Solutions is such a neat platform because combined with the data from an in-body scan, we're able to tell exactly when a person can handle more carbohydrates, exactly when a person can handle more or less protein and fats, and how to make those changes to a nutrition plan. But what we find more often than not is we have to keep feeding people to get them to keep losing body fat. So wrap your head around that. When people start, we ease them into food. They do lose body fat, and then they might plateau, and then we have to give them more and more food, feed them more to keep losing body fat. It definitely seems backwards, right? So why is that? Well, here's what happens. As you begin to adjust your metabolism, let's say I'm a person who hasn't really worked out, type 2 diabetic, I've kind of had my health all out of whack for 10 or 15 years, right? And skipping breakfast, I'm eating irregularly. Like most Americans, I probably overeat at night, and my diet is a little bit high in carbs, sugar, and fats, right? So what we do is we start slow. We are going to get you to eat every few hours, especially breakfast, eat good quality foods. And what happens is this: once you do that, your metabolism starts to burn fuel consistently. So when we eat inconsistently, insulin levels and blood sugar are all over the place. Look at it like putting your car in cruise control. If we get you to eat every few hours, it's like hitting the cruise button in your car. Super easy to regulate blood sugar and to keep you burning fat. A little bit of food at a time, digest it, burn it off. A little bit of food at a time, digest it, burn it off. You have consistent energy levels, more consistent blood sugar levels, and it starts to ramp up your metabolism. If you give your body little bits of food every few hours, it turns into a fat burning machine. That's me keeping it simple. So what happens is this: at some point, your body becomes so efficient at burning fuel that it'll start to burn muscle along with fat, because it needs more and more fuel to keep fueling the muscle and to keep your body going. But why is that? Why can't we just get to a point where we just stop burning any muscle and we're only losing body fat by eating the same amount of food all the time? That'd be perfect. Well, here's why. I like to relate this to fitness. So imagine this in a number of different things. Let's say that you were to do 10 push-ups a day, every single day for a month. Well, the first week, it might be fairly hard. For some people, might do push-ups on your knees. That might challenge you, might be sore, right? But you get a week in, and it becomes easier and easier. You get 2 weeks in, it's even easier. By the end of the month, 10 push-ups, that's not even a warm-up for you anymore, right? And so what do you do? Like, if you want to keep getting stronger, you can't do 10 push-ups every day. It's not even challenging anymore. You're not even sore. Your body is not getting any stronger. So what do? You either increase the number of push-ups that you do in a given day or in a time period, or we maybe add some weight. So you switch to bench press, or you put a 20-pound weight on your back, or your kid sits on your back. And now you make those push-ups harder and harder. So now instead of doing 10 every day, we're going to do 15. And now we're going to do 3 sets of 15. So as you get stronger and stronger and stronger, you have to keep increasing the difficulty level of the push-up in order to keep getting stronger. Otherwise, you just kind of maintain the status quo and you won't keep getting stronger. No different than food. If we don't keep feeding the body, once you're used to burning that food off, you just kind of are what you are, right? So that's one example. Look at it this way. Those of you that have kids, right? I think there's a lot of us in that boat. Imagine if you just stopped your child's education when they're able to do simple addition and subtraction. No more math lessons. That's it. You're going to learn to add 1 plus 1, 2 plus 2, 5 minus 2, 5 minus 3, whatever it is. That's it. No multiplication, no divisions, no fractions, no nothing. You stop at whatever that is, your first or second or third grade math level, right? What's going to happen? Well, your brain will stop developing. Grade level will never improve. So what do we do to keep learning or to keep getting smarter? We keep increasing the difficulty, right, of the math problems. Now we teach multiplication, division, we do fractions, we do geometry, trigonometry, all those things, right? Because the only way to keep getting smarter is to challenge the brain more, right? For those of you that play sports, imagine that you're a baseball player. Okay, I'm a big baseball guy. If all I did was face a pitcher throwing a 70-mile-per-hour fastball, I'm going to get pretty good at hitting a 70-mile-an-hour fastball. But then what happens when I face a pitcher that throws a 100-mile-an-hour fastball? I can't do it. I don't know how to handle that, right? So by slowly increasing the speed at which you face a pitcher, 75, then 80, then 85, you get better and better and better at baseball and better and better and better equipped to handle that 100-mile-an-hour fastball. No different than running, right? If you run an 11-minute mile 3 times a week for the next year, you're going to run an 11-minute mile. It won't even be challenging for you at the end of a year, right? Or whatever the case is. So how do you keep getting better? You have to run more miles, or you have to run intervals, or you have to do, 2 800-meter sprints as hard as you can. So the only way to improve your mile time is to increase the difficulty level. So I want to bring this full circle. Hope this makes sense. Nutrition and losing body fat is never as simple as calories in versus calories out, right? You need to be able to eat the appropriate amount of food at the appropriate times to consistently lose body fat without sacrificing any muscle. What happens more often than not is when you get your metabolism firing, you start to find yourself being hungry and hungry and hungrier. And this is a good thing, right? No different than getting better and better at push-ups. But if you never increase the amount of food that you get, right, in the right amounts at the right times, you're going to plateau, your body's going to stall, you might even put on body fat. No different than if you just do 10 push-ups 3 times a week for the rest of your life. You're never going to get any stronger. It's not going to be a warm-up anymore. So I hope that makes sense, kind of bringing some full circle stuff to the ideas of how nutrition and fitness go hand in hand, and why it's so important to have a coach and somebody to be able to help you with the nutrition side of things, because it really is more challenging than what you think. On that note, let's leave you with a fun little workout. So we've talked about this before. Murph is a hero workout in CrossFit that's coming up Memorial Day weekend. Go ahead and look it up. M-U-R-P-H, Murph. It's a workout that thousands and thousands of millions of people do all across the world every year. But in preparation for that, we're going to go with our push-up theme. I encourage you to try to do 10 push-ups every day from now until Memorial Day weekend. And once that becomes kind of easy, increase it to 15 a day, then 20 a day. And if every day is too much, start with every other day and see how many push-ups you can get in with a full range of motion between now and Memorial Day. Real quick scaling options. First one, we can go up on a desk, right? Touch your chest, press out. We can do these on our knees on the floor. We could do them on our toes. Just always make sure to lock the arms out and touch the chest with every repetition. All right, guys, that's a lot of information. It's really cool and helps you understand nutrition and fitness a little bit better. We'll see you next Friday with another Fitness Friday.